All right, fun way to finish out the home season. I want to thank our fans. That's pretty cool to have every single home game sold out, no matter the opponent. SEC, Sun Belt, Southern, MAC, all the conferences. We sold it out, and I don't take that for granted. I was watching a game on Thursday night, a conference showdown between two Power 4 teams, and it was about a third empty. And I took a picture of it. Not took a picture of it, but I saw that on Twitter, people talking about the crowd at that game, and I sent it to our coaches and staff and told them, do not ever take Williams-Brice Stadium for granted, and I do not. In college football, to have a home field environment like we do and to sell out every game like we have this season, thanks to them. Appreciate the cockpit being packed down there in the end zone throughout the night tonight. We don't have school here, don't have class here next week at Carolina, so they all could have bolted and headed home, and they stayed for one final home game. It was very noticeable, and appreciate those guys as well. Awesome night to have the Salute the Troops game tonight as well. Looked up in the upper deck at the end of the stadium, and they were all in there. So have so much gratitude for our armed forces, the men and women that give us the freedom that we have in this country to do the amazing things that we do, to live in the greatest country in America, and it's because of those men and women and what they do. So I'm so grateful for them. God bless all of them. That was a really cool moment when we started the in-game music or whatnot was started playing Toby Keith, brought to you courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, and I heard the crowd started chanting USA, USA, and that was a really cool moment, and would have been a great moment if we hadn't gotten sacked on the very next play. But right up until that point, it was awesome. But appreciate those guys as well. I got chills during that moment. And having said that, I want to thank everybody that makes a home game special here at Carolina, from the grounds crew that has the field looking as amazing as it does, to the band, the dance squad, the cheerleaders, the students, the fans, the people that play the videos and do the music, Justin King, obviously, and Joe O'Clair, who heads up marketing and so much for us. It doesn't get enough credit. They're the best in the country at what they do, and it is awesome, and it makes an impact on our players, and it makes an impact on recruits that are here as well. There's a lot of great things going on with Gamecock football. I saw that it was, or Gamecock athletics, and that's a credit to Coach Tanner, who we just gave a game ball to in the locker room for his last home game as a Gamecock. Officially, he'll be in that locker room. I'm going to make him a new special assistant to the head coach for me next year. He doesn't know that, so we're going to keep his rear end. Yeah. How does it what? Not well. But appreciate him and so grateful for him. And like I've said a million times, the opportunity he gave me here at Carolina, but the way that he's made this athletic department better. I saw the news yesterday. Jeff Crane's back there, and Jeff has been an awesome addition to our program. And he told me yesterday that the Gamecock Club has the highest number of members that they've had in 10 years. So the highest number of Gamecock Club members around here since 2014. That's a testament to their leadership, and it's a testament to all the amazing things that are going on right now in Gamecock athletics as well. So thanks to so many for all that. Much respect to Wofford. We knew they'd come in here and battle. It's their last game, and we knew we would get their best shot, and they'd leave it all out there. And Coach Watson and his team did a great job coming in here. I thought our start was awful, just to be completely frank. I mean, the first play of the game, they get us in a formation where we've got to check the call that we have on defense. We don't communicate it the right way, and it ends up in a 69-yard pass, 63-yard pass on the first play of the game. Then they score. We have a kickoff return. We get a penalty. Then we throw an interception. We've got missed blocks on the offensive line throughout the first half. We get a late hit, which is ridiculous, not a ridiculous call, a ridiculous decision to hit the quarterback late on an interception. Twice we have edge pressures called, and somebody up front doesn't do what they're supposed to do, and it turns into an explosive play. We talked about we get ready for a fake, and we allow a fake punt. Same fake Notre Dame ran against us in the bowl game 2 years ago. We don't have an edge on the defense, and then fake field goal where we got bailed out by a false start by them. So first quarter, just not good enough in a lot of ways. But there was no coming in the locker room and screaming and yelling and throwing chairs and raising hell and all that, which I'm sure a lot of our fans wanted us all to do. We were very calm. We came in here. We told our guys that here's why the score is 21-9. It's because of us and some of our mistakes. that was a huge drive by the offense in that last part of the first half to get points. And then I said, the offense, you're up first to start the second half. We're going to go right down the field and score, and then we need to play like Gamecock football is in the second half, and to outscore them, I think 35-3 in the second half was really good. The beginning of the third quarter, the drive, the stop, all that was really, really good. So I was proud of the response of our guys. And I told them at halftime, guys, it's a lot like the Furman game last year, first game against Furman last year, first quarter. I think it was 17-14, like late in the first half, and everybody's disgruntled and what the heck's going on. And I told them, and then we came in it. We got a 2.2-minute drive right before the half last year against Furman down here in the other end zone. We scored a touchdown. Then we came out. We ended up beating them by 4 touchdowns. And I said it's going to be the same thing if we just do a better job of executing and doing our job. And that's exactly what we did. So proud of our guys. Obviously, we were a mash unit out there tonight from an injury standpoint, and Dow and the offensive staff had to get creative with a lot of stuff and as far as personnel groupings, and they did. So proud of the team. Happy for our seniors. It's a testament to this program. You see the excitement they had for a guy like Bradley Dunn. Hammond, his high school team, wins a state championship last night, and he gets a walk-off touchdown in his last play ever in Williams-Brice Stadium. And then you saw the pure joy that our sideline had for him. Or on the last kickoff, we put Cole Rasmussen in there, a senior that ran downfield on a kickoff and things like that as well. I guess he's got another year and is planning on coming back, but technically he's a senior. But got a great group of young men, excited to coach them and proud of them. David's not here. Is he in basketball?
Yeah, he's in Florida.
Florida. Wow. All right. Well, I see where his priorities are as well. So who's up first? Oh, okay. Congrats.
I'll play David today and ask about the injuries, I guess.
Well,
Jared
David
Brown.
would ask about injuries, so I'll give you injuries, and I'll give you a bonus question as well. So what do you got?
Jared Brown, Josh Simon, Van Dravius late, or I guess anybody else, any updates there?
Yeah, Jared Brown should be fine. He actually had a little bit of a hand injury last week against Missouri. He'll be fine for next week. Dre, I'm not sure about. It was a little bit of a hamstring on that when he got hurt. And Josh, we'll see. And then Mike Smith, we'll see.
And Dale Von Campbell, big game today, second week in a row. How much can he help you, going forward, going to a big game next week, especially if that wide receiver tight end room is banged up?
Yeah, Dale Von's been awesome. Gave him a game ball in there as well, not just for what he's doing as a receiver, but you saw him cover a punt and go down there. He does a really good job for us. He's on our punt team. He's on our punt pressure team, and does a great job. So he's worked really, really hard in practice, and to come out and perform like he did tonight, that just I told you guys at the beginning of the season that our wide receiver room would continue to get better, and the way the wide receiver room looked in September, it would probably look different in December, or in November, and it does. Those guys continue to work and continue to get better, and Dale Von's a perfect example of that. And credit a lot of guys that haven't been playing a lot that we had to tonight. We used a lot more 4 receivers and 1 tight end or 1 running back personnel grouping. Luke Doty, Peyton Mangrum, those guys had to come in there and play a lot more and did a good job.
You mentioned this week that it'd be an emotional day for you with all the seniors that you have and a variety of guys that have either been here since before you got here or came here for this year. How was today for you, especially once the game got to the second half and you realized that their time at Williams-Brice was coming to an end?
Yeah, really happy for them. Really happy to be able to win it where it's the game is under control. There in the second half, and you can have some fun on the sidelines and get guys in the game, and get Davis Bevel in there for one more drive as a Gamecock, and get Bradley Dunn some carries, and get Ronnie Porter. Ronnie's not our senior, but get Joseph Burns in there at defensive back, and on and on and on. So just really, really happy for those guys, and it was emotional. Those are some great young men, and I've talked so much about what they've done for Gamecock football, what they've done for me, the gratitude I have for them, and it's true. That's a special group of guys, and Lulu asked that the other day just about the emotions of it, and it's the emotions of the memories you have with them that we're still making and the great things they've done, but it's also the emotion of And these are some really good freaking players that are not going to be back next year. And Emily, my wife, was out there with me when we were talking to them when they came out before the game, and even she mentioned it like, geez, I didn't realize there was so many like good ones. And it is. It's like your whole starting defense just passes you, and you look up in that section and you see all those recruits, and it's like, come on, fellas, like we need y'all next year too, because we got some pretty good players that are rolling out of here. But happy for them to finish out their last home game in Williams-Brice Stadium with a win. You know, you saw guys like Spencer Rattler that were here tonight. Spencer didn't get to do that. He lost his last game in that stadium, and Xavier Leggett. So to be able to send them out with a win, to win 8 games when most of the projections had us not even being close to winning 8, to be nationally ranked, just really, really happy for them for the finishing out tonight, but the season we're having and the job's not done. We got a lot more work to do.
Shane, you mentioned it during your opening, but the 2 fakes on that one drive that Wofford had, you mentioned it kind of resembled the Notre Dame game. Can you kind of elaborate on that? And then just, were you guys kind of expecting them, especially the fake punt? It seemed kind of obvious after the timeout that Wofford was probably going to do that on 4th and 2.
Yeah. We were ready for it. I mean, that's how we started our Tuesday team meeting, Jack. Obviously, I did not do a very good job of conveying that to our players, but in our Tuesday team meeting, we talked about all the things that they've done on special teams this year that they've faked. I think I said 1 punt. We're looking back. It was 2 punts. It was one against Chattanooga and one against Western Carolina. So 2 punts, 2 fake field goals, a surprise onside kick. We were ready for it, but clearly not ready enough. The fake punt, it was basically the same thing that Notre Dame ran against us 2 years ago. Lulu asked me about a month ago about some of the things that I look back on, mistakes, things I've learned, regrets, and that's one of them, that I didn't call a timeout against Notre Dame because I saw it coming from a mile away. And we were against Notre Dame, we were in like our, punt pressure team, meaning the people that come on the field to block punts and return punts. Tonight, we were actually in our, basically safe defense where we were ready for a fake. They just they did a good job of securing the edge, and we allowed that guy to get outside, but it wasn't like a shock on that one, like, oh my God, like we were in a safe call for the fake, and we just didn't defend it well enough. And then the field goal, yeah, I mean, once we saw the guy, I forget the number, 48 maybe, he was in there lined up as the tight end closest to us, and he's in there in a 3-point stance, so he's not in there to block. So as soon as I got to the line of scrimmage, I knew something was up, and I was on the headphones with Joe D and Clayton both, like, do we need to call a timeout? And then they shifted, and then once they shifted, we checked into a look to defend the fake, and we were in position. We just didn't defend it very well. We let the guy run right past us. So obviously our guys didn't get the message on Tuesday, or I should say I didn't deliver the message well enough on Tuesday because they were going to fake some stuff. It was their last game. They don't play next week. They're going to let it all hang out, and I don't blame them. So disappointing that happened, but, we've just got to coach it better, both those situations. And, just got to be better on special teams overall. We let a punt hit us tonight and gave them possession back. Just bad ball, bad coaching, starting with me.
Shane, you mentioned Spencer here tonight. What was it like having him on the sidelines? And looked like he was pretty active down there.
Yeah, no, he was having a fun time. I think he said his mom and dad's in town too with him as well. So one, I think it's pretty cool that a young man from Phoenix, Arizona, playing in the NFL for the Saints, has an off weekend, and of all the places in the world he could go, he decides to come back to Columbia, South Carolina. So it says a lot about the people of this program that this is where he wanted to come back to on his off weekend. It was awesome seeing him, and he was great. We were certainly having some fun down there on the sideline. Spencer's kind of notorious for, he liked some of those quarterback sneaks and things like that to try and get him a touchdown and things like that as well. And Lenoris essentially did that tonight on that touchdown where he had the quarterback sneak as well. He didn't give Dow a chance to call a play. He just went rogue on us a little bit and scored a touchdown. And as soon as it happened, Dow was like, oh, I see, Spencer's here. So he's trying to like one-up Spencer on all that stuff as well. But it was fun having him down there. That's not a story. The quarterback's not like overruling the offensive coordinator. It was on the 1-inch line. He was doing something we were okay with and we were fine with. So don't let that be the headline that Lenoris is now calling his own plays.
Shane, can you just talk about how much your team has improved this season, but also the fact that this is the first time since 2013 that the Gamecocks have won 5 in a row.
Yeah. Testament to the young men in our program that we were, 3-3 after we lost to Alabama, I think. That, doing the math, Shane, jeez. 3-3, 5 in a row would be 8. That we were 3-3, and there was no panic. There was no pointing fingers. It was, let's just continue to work and continue to get better, and to win 5 in a row, to be ranked where we are right now, to have 8 wins is really awesome, and a credit to the leadership of this team. And how we've gotten better. That's just something that we pride ourselves on around here. You go back to 21 when we, won 2 out of 3 down the stretch against Auburn and North Carolina in the bowl game, or 2022 where we finished with wins over Tennessee and Clemson, or 23 where we won 3 out of our last 4 as well. We've played pretty good ball in November, and I think it goes back to our weight room program and how we do things during the season and throughout the year so we can be built and trained to be our best at the end of the season. It goes back to the way we practice as well. We don't, we try and get better. We're not taking care of ourselves. I mean, we're taking care of our bodies, but we're not, we do a lot of competitive things in practice, and there's a lot of first-team offense versus first-team defense, and there's also a lot of developing young guys throughout the season, and that's allowed us to play pretty good football in the month of November.
Shane, you mentioned getting 8 wins when the expectations outside the program were very low. Here you are sitting on 8, got 2 more games to go. How satisfying or gratifying and how enjoyable is it for you? Is it one of the best seasons you've had in your coaching career as an assistant head coach?
Yeah, I think it's to be determined. We got 2 guaranteed games left for sure. I think it's very rewarding probably more so for it's rewarding because of what last season ended up being and how our guys have responded. And it's more rewarding, Rick, for, as I've said before, the guys that could have left after last season and came back. And it would, as I've told you guys before, it would have been very, very easy for all those seniors and all of our best players, period, to just say, oh, man, we just went 5-7. We're not going to a bowl game. Nobody thinks we're worth a crap. All the preseason prognosticators got us winning 3-4 games. I'm going to go somewhere else and have a great 2024. And none of them did that. They all doubled down on this program and leaving this place better than what we were in 2023. And record-wise, 2023 was not what we wanted. But there were, as I've said to you guys, there was a lot of growth last season in winning 3 out of 4 down the stretch. And at the end of the day, we're essentially, a missed tackle away from being 6-6 last year and being in a bowl game and having a chance to win 7 games in a bowl game. And the narrative would have been, oh my God, South Carolina overcame all these injuries in 23 and look how they responded and battled back and won a bowl game. Well, it didn't happen, and your record is what you say you are. But we knew we weren't that far off, and I'm just really, really happy for the guys that return to have the success that they're having this season, and it's fun to see those guys be rewarded for their belief in Gamecock football.
I think normally you guys have like a 24-hour rule to celebrate and enjoy a victory, but considering what's up next week, both in terms of the state and maybe some national influence as well, how anxious are you personally to want to get to work on what's ahead? Do you allow yourself to enjoy this a little bit, or do you just dive right in?
No, I'm going to enjoy this one. I'm not going to go home and immediately pull out the iPad and start breaking down Clemson football. I'll be in the office about 7 a.m. tomorrow morning doing that, but that's a normal Sunday for me, being back in there early and eager to get to work. But no, I think it's great, Phil, that I'm assuming they won, right? Okay, so it'll be great that it's two ranked teams. It's a great rivalry. It's the best rivalry in college athletics, in my opinion, just because of what it means to all sports in this state. And I think it's great for the state of South Carolina when you got 2 ranked teams playing a meaningful game at the end of the season, and it should be that way every year. And I love being a part of this rivalry and got a ton of respect for Dabo and consider him a friend, and he and Kathleen are awesome. And But we will get back to work tomorrow. We're going to celebrate the heck out of this one and enjoy this one. Recover tomorrow, learn from this one because there's a lot to clean up from tonight. Offense, defense, and special teams. We need to be a lot better than we were tonight. The score ended up great, but there's a lot for us to clean up. So it'll be a normal Saturday night. I wish I could celebrate. I'll leave here. I'll go do the radio show with Todd. I'll go out on the field. I'll tape the TV show. So it'll be a while before I get home anyway, Phil. But once I get home, I'll enjoy this one for a little bit and relax, and I'll be jumping out of bed tomorrow morning early and can't wait to get to work.
You guys were coming into this week with, I think, everyone else talking about the Clemson game and the playoffs and all that stuff. The last 3 weeks, everyone's kind of been projecting things, but how have you kept your guys in the present, just thinking week to week?
Yeah, really haven't talked about it at all. I'm not naive. I know that our players are hearing about it and whatnot, but all we can do is worry about ourselves and winning football games. And I know it's cliche, but it's true. Like, we just try and go 1-0 every single week. And we've used that mantra. They remember November, and we're having a good November right now. And it can be a great November depending on how we finish this thing next week or whatnot. But that's really been the mentality that nothing matters if you don't win football games. So what do we have to do to go 1-0? And then after that, we'll leave it in, so we've done all we can at that point. So we're in this position right now with 8-3 because we're 8-3 because of what we've done or haven't done. And now we got a chance to go try and win 9 games and see what happens.
Just a quick two-part. Luke Doty got a lot of targets early. Was there kind of a point of emphasis to get the seniors more involved early that maybe got less playing time throughout the year?
No. For us, it was because of our tight end situation tonight with the injuries at the tight end position, not having Josh Simon, Brady Hunt, or Mike Smith. You're down your top 3 tight ends. So we were gonna play more 4 wide receiver sets, and Luke is a guy that when you do that, if you play with 4 receivers as opposed to 3 receivers and 1 tight end, well, that receiver coming in as your 4th guy to replace the tight end essentially has to know what the tight end would have been doing on all those plays. So we weren't necessarily going to put Luke in there in a 3-point stance to block defensive ends, but he's a very smart guy that played quarterback, played receiver, and can do it all, and is a great player for us. So he was in that role because of that.
All right, and then last part, what areas have you seen kind of the receiver room grow the most in this season?
Just making plays. Mike Furry is an unbelievable wide receiver coach and has done a great job developing those guys. And to me, it's just they're gaining in confidence. They work really, really hard. They practice well. It shows on Saturdays, and they're really making plays.
Up to this point, Lenore seems to be making every deep ball that he needs to make. How impressed have you been that he's throughout the season, him improving in that category, and how has that opened up the playbook up to this point?
Yeah, he's just gets better every week. I mean, what a player he is to go 23 of 27 for 307 and 3 touchdowns tonight and run for 50-plus yards. He's just continues to get better, continues to gain in confidence, and just like our football team, he continues to be a better player week in, week out.
Shane, you mentioned on Tuesday that you wanted to make sure you got better this weekend. Do you feel like you did? And then between now and a week from then, what are the things you need to see to feel like you've gotten better again for the final regular season game of the season?
A win. If we certainly win next Saturday, I would say we took a step. I think we did. It was a challenge this week just because of the injury situation on offense. I don't know if we've had a snap of 10 personnel all year, meaning 1 running back, 4 receivers in the game. Or I guess early in the season, we did some 20 personnel, meaning 2 running backs and no tight ends and 3 receivers on the field. But it really hasn't been a focal point of our offense. We used Jatavius Shivers tonight as an extra offensive lineman. I'm sure you guys noticed that when Big 88 came in the game. 88 was an offensive tackle playing some tight end for us. So I think it was a challenge, but because of that, I feel like we got better because we've now expanded our offense. So now Clemson's looking at us, and Here they're an 11 personnel team, they're a 12 personnel team. They can do some stuff out of 20 personnel. They can do some things out of 10 personnel. They can do some things out of 11 with an extra offensive lineman at tight end. So we've expanded what we've done on offense and had a lot of success with that tonight as well. So from that standpoint, I feel like we got better. We got some young guys in there tonight on defense and got them experience, so you're naturally going to get better. But again, there's a lot to clean up as well. Not a very clean first quarter, and need to be better. There's no question about it. Okay, thank you all. Enjoy your Saturday night. Thank you. Thank you all.